Hello and thank you for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakum. Today on the program, United Nations says Boko Haram killed more than 27,000 civilians in 10 years as President Muhammadu Buhari unveils federal government's plan to deploy technology, overhaul security architecture to check insecurity, and later on the program, Governor Zulum orders suspension of medical director for doctors after midnight unscheduled visits to public hospital in Maiduguri. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Adekunle Yusuf, and Martins Oloja. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. In life, necessity prompts invention to help solve human problems. In Nigeria, it is taking untold hardship occasioned by insecurity to decide to adopt technology to fight crimes. Like other countries, President Muhammadu Buhari had told Nigerians that his administration is working with state governments in the country on the use of advanced technology and modern equipment like drones and CCTVs to tackle the rising insecurity. President Buhari, who was addressing traditional rulers from the southwest at the State House in Abuja, also said an overhaul of security architecture in the country is in the offing. Meanwhile, the United Nations had estimated that more than 27,000 Nigerians died between 2009 to 2019 in the Boko Haram insurgency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states. Julie, looking at this figure, 10 years of terror since it started in 2009 till now. I'm sure this figure is quite conservative, 27,000. But let's just take it that because, number one, a country that doesn't even have accurate population sensor data, so we can't really, but let's just say this 27,000. From me, if United Nations is saying this 27,000, how we put it at 50 or 60,000, that in the last 10 years, looking at the havoc they've wreaked in Yobe, Adamawa, and Borno states, and some people that you can't even give account of. So many people are in their camps right now, you don't even know that they are in their camps. The only thing we are shouting, Chibok, Dapchi, but there's thousands of people, hundreds of women and children are trapped in their camp.
That is the thing. When you look at the way Boko Haram was running riot before the 2015 election, in the attack on Baga, they must have killed close to 1,000 people. The attack on Baga alone.
I remember that attack.
It was
burnt all the houses.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible. Many of our people had to flee to Cameroon. And when you bear in mind the fact that they were, during that era, they were also taking territories. They would take a whole local government.
Put the flags.
And you cannot do that without killing people. If you go to Borno State, you go to some communities that Boko Haram attacked even some years back, you will find very few houses standing because it's a very destructive terrorist group. They burn houses, they kill people, they throw people inside wells. So this is a conservative figure, honestly, because the killings have not stopped. If the killings had stopped, yeah, then we can say, well, this is exaggerated. The killings have not stopped. In fact, the killing of soldiers now is a lot worse than some years back. Yes. Because they attack army bases. They were not doing that before. They attack army bases, overrun army bases. You can't do that without killing soldiers. It's just not possible.
Cutting away the munitions.
You cut away their weapons. The intention, beyond the fact that they want to establish a safe corridor in Borno North through which they can constantly get fed with weapons from Chad. They want to continue to loot the best of the weapons that the Nigerian army has got to offer. Every time they attack an army base, they are looking for your night vision goggles. They want to steal night vision goggles or these Buffalo multi-terrain vehicles that we use. Because when they now steal these Buffalo multi-terrain vehicles, they can now convert it to a gun truck. And gun truck, for some time, has been their favorite army military vehicle. Because in that area, they do not have, in that area, they do not have so many tanks, but they have many gun trucks. They do not have many tanks, but they have many gun trucks. They have even kind of caused the Nigerian army to also begin to take gun trucks seriously. The Nigerian army never really relied on gun trucks. But these days, the Nigerian army too, they too go around with gun trucks because that is the favorite weapon of the enemy. So if they storm an army base with about 15 gun trucks, you know that they've come with the intention to not play. So this is the... They want to steal weapons, the best that you have, and ensure that they create that safe corridor. A soldier was telling me in December last year, when I was in Maiduguri, he said, see, their strategy, if they constantly attack an army base, the army would then suddenly stop deploying in that area. If they attack an army base three times, for example, we then ask ourselves, does it really make any sense to continue to hold that area? A lot of those places, people are not living in them. You go to a community like Zari, where they slaughtered a lot of our soldiers in August last year. Nobody's living there. But it's strategic to them because they need to be able to use that route to bring in weapons from the black market through Chad. So if you want to stop them from using that area, they are going to visit maximum violence on troops stationed there, so that at a point, the chief of army staff will tell himself that does it make sense to continue to defend an area where nobody is even resident.
Adekunle, 10 years after, we've seen this, and if somebody had told me in 2009 that this is going to take 10 years, or the way it is, this is going to last longer than 10 years, I would have doubted that person. But right now, the way it's looking, it's not looking so good, as if maybe we're going to be able to curtail this thing come next year.
No, the end of Boko Haram is not in sight. So far, with what we have seen so far, the killings are still ongoing. If you want to monitor a better accurate, figure about the killings, violent killings in the country, go through the Nigeria Security Tracker. It's a US-based council of, based in Washington, almost on a hourly basis. You see, anywhere people die in Nigeria, everything is... So, according to them, between 2015 and now, 25,790-something people died.
That's and 2015 to 2019, that's 4 years. Not even there 10 years.
So we're talking about
generally.
Okay.
Not only Boko Haram, not only Boko Haram, violent deaths.
Yes.
People who died violently in Nigeria. And by their own, whether it is cattle rustling, whether it's banditry, whether it is election, violence, violent deaths in Nigeria. What we are saying is there is general state of insecurity. Now, you used to just locate it to notice that it's Boko Haram, Now, even where there is no Boko Haram, you know what is happening. The truth is that I don't think we are doing enough. We are not doing enough. look at all the meetings around security so far. The narratives I get, we have improved security situation. That is not true. The security situation has not improved. People are still dying in large numbers.
Yes.
So if from the presidency I get the narrative that security has been improved, that is not true. So first of all, you need
You are not even obliged to believe them.
So first of all, you need to get, to the, you understand the enormity of the problems you have to be able to solve them. Now we are talking about, is it, what do they call it now? Drones, CCTVs, and all that. If we are so good, if this will help, why haven't we deployed this in the fight against Boko Haram? And if we have done so, what level of success have we recorded? I'm still thinking.
Can I add something? If you noticed, about 1 or 2 years ago, you see Nigerian Air Force drones recording kills against Boko Haram. And the Air Force was happy to release those videos. You see them running after a Boko Haram tank, and you see the drone running after a Boko Haram tank, and then killing it with one of his missiles. Today, those drones are not in operation. I don't want to use a word that will show me like someone who is not a patriot. You won't see Air Force drones flying in the northeast area currently. Well, how we cannot keep them in the air, I don't understand. But it's clear that it's either they are not currently serviceable or that something is wrong. So those drones, because those drones help you, and they are not manned by anyone. So even if you lose a drone, you've not lost any soldier. It's an unmanned area vehicle. So, but right now, no.
Mr. Aloja, now when you look at Mr. President dropping that hint that, look, he's going to overhaul the security architecture in the country, that's in very soon, and people will be like, what kind of announcement is this? Why is he informing us? We thought
Just do it.
Seriously speaking, the way Jide and Yusuf have painted this thing, the build-up to this thing, we're using data to talk about like a natural disaster. The chairman, Professor Wale Omole, normally call some of this thing natural disaster. Some of our leaders as natural disaster. So you see, when Shakespeare will tell you that when beggars die, there are no comets seen, but the heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes. How many beggars have died that are not recorded? How many? Like, you just see that sometimes it's no longer newsworthy. And then we do not have capacity to even track deaths, even in the zone, not to talk of the general trend that he has been talking about.
What happens is even when an attack happens,
Yes.
we record that, 60 dead,
60 dead.
about 50 injured.
Injured.
Out of the injured,
follow-up.
because of our very poor health,
You don't do follow-up. You don't do follow-up.
the following day, more people will die from their wounds.
yes.
And newspapers or
We
media
have
will not
reported
mention
the
it.
first.
Another thing would have happened.
We are waiting for the next occurrence.
Some who died in the hospital
Yes.
or on the road,
Unrecorded.
we do not have access to such figure, but it's a tragedy. But the other angle of general deaths to bandits, to robbers, to pickpockets, to all sorts of things, election riggers and all those things like that. We don't follow up on this thing, but it's a tragedy. The tragedy in this thing is that this is the beginning of a new term of office for the president. And you look at the front pages, the prime time, on air, everywhere, we're talking of tragedies. Within the context of asking direct foreign investment. So when they read this thing about Nigeria, the most populous black nation on earth, it's a tragedy. And I think that the way we do this thing, we're laughing now about about drone CCTV. CCTV issue came up even under President Jonathan, when they said the then National Security Advisor invested heavily on this thing. They said, let's do some experiment in Lagos and Abuja. At the end of the day, it became an object of investigation that they didn't do so much. Money disappeared, nothing was investigated, nobody was arrested. Now, here we go again. This brings into focus conspiracy theory about this operation as a big business. And then it's consuming a large chunk of our mega resources. At the beginning of an administration where we should be talking about critical infrastructure, where we should be talking about entrepreneurial nation that we should be. We are not talking about that one. It's insecurity. Yesterday at the editorial board meeting, we were wondering why the traditional rulers have suddenly found it fashionable to just be visiting just because of insecurity.
No, they sent for them.
They sent for them.
They are always invited.
Yes, they are inviting them. They are inviting them.
And why it is not, it won't be right to criticize these traditional rulers. Someone like the Oni warned seriously that the way things were going.
He was there.
So they've done nothing wrong.
You know where I am going.
And the president was merely trying to show them that, look, we are trying to do something. Because nobody invited Oni last month now.
Yes.
But everyone can see
there twice within 48 hours.
Everyone can see now that, look, the way they were kidnapping people for fun in the Southwest, that it called for serious attention. And the Oni spoke like a worthy leader.
Yeah, definitely he did.
Yes,
and
so I was not surprised when they sent...
Even Alaafin wrote a letter.
Alaafin's letter too was a very good one. That's how traditional leaders to behave.
Then immediately after those things, you see that the presidency had to send the vice president to come to the Southwest.
Yeah, I think
then he started meeting the traditional rulers from state to state.
The short to diplomacy or whatever we call it is okay. You know, what I'm saying is the construct that I've been pursuing, that this is taking a steam out of meetings we should be holding on development of this country, because we do not have critical infrastructure. We are lagging behind in everything that we need to.
We will only be able to enjoy critical infrastructure when we have life.
When we have security.
When we have security.
That is why we feel that
no development can take place.
Yes,
there should be more attention.
Let's be alive first. I can't go to Ondo now.
No,
there was a party there.
We can't go again.
I cannot go to Akure. I go and mingle with my people.
Yes, that is very serious.
Between Lagos, Ibadan, Lagos,
it happened. Even Lagos, Ibadan. It happened last week.
But you know, it is not
they kidnapped the CMD, Abi.
Yes,
right
it's not a good development, and all of us should feel very sad about it, that we are insecure.
It was very easy traveling before, going to Osun, going to
Osogbo.
Yeah, definitely. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere.
It's only a madman that will try that now.
I
going
think
alone
that,
towards this route.
They should...
They used to do that.
You know, when
I have a call from Abuja.
How does your journalist?
Paul, thank you for joining us.
Good evening, gents. My name is Captain Paul from Abuja.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, just to comment, first of all, I'm a huge fan of your show.
Thank you, sir.
Now, to the issue, I think we're looking at it the wrong way. We keep talking about the army. There is a strategic goal to all of this. The Air Force, they have got Mi-35s. I know Babajide mentioned it some months back. An Mi-35 doesn't cost more than $5 or $6 million. They went to use $300 million to buy 12 Tucano jets that will come in 4 years. All we need is nothing more than 5 or 6 of those MIs. They can fly in any weather. They fly low, and they are extremely effective. So my question is,
Do you mean six more?
That alternative.
Mr. Paul, do you mean
Thank you
6
very
more MI-35 or your 6?
I think
Six
it's
more MI-35s. We only have 2 or 3.
The way the Air Force is overstretched, that won't be enough. Because they will need even 3 in the Borno area, and then you have them operating in Zamfara.
In terms of training their pilots.
You know, I think they have just about 6.
I think it's still on.
Yes,
It's
just talking about management of priorities, that instead of investing in something that will come in 4 years, that why not invest in something?
Can we get that MI-35 on the shelf?
No, you can't. You can't.
It's still the same problem.
You can't.
You still have to order and wait.
You have to wait.
You have to
but
wait.
the thing is, we do not have enough MI-35. That is a fact. And don't also forget that we lost one in December.
Okay.
Around Damasak. It came down and we lost airmen in the process. So right now, I think we have about maybe 5 or so. That is not enough for us. If we have, that was why I wanted to ask him whether he wanted us to buy 6 more, or he says 6 will be enough. 6 can't be enough. Everywhere there's a problem, we send the Air Force. We send them to Zamfara. We send them to Katsina. In fact, Katsina is their operational base right now. And we still have the problems in the northeast. Anytime the army run into an ambush or something, we need the Air Force to go and rescue them. So how can you do that if you don't have enough?
So what's the outstanding feature of this Super Tucano?
I saw a story again that, no, the thing is, the Super Tucano is best for us. One, you can, with the Super Tucano, you can be airborne, carrying out your operation without needing to refuel for long hours, unlike most fighter bombers. This Super Tucano can also land on any hard surface.
Hard surface?
Yes, you don't need an airfield or airport for it to land. That is why it's been useful in Afghanistan, even Mali, you know, all of these places. So they carefully considered what they felt, and you can also use it as a reconnaissance aircraft, meaning that you can use it to gather intelligence, you know. So it's a very useful fighter jet for us. It's just that you cannot simply go and buy a fighter bomber on the shelf. When you place an order, they start manufacturing. So it takes time, unless you want to do what Goodluck Jonathan did before the election, when they had to go and buy from the black market. And when you want to do that, be ready to spend, in some cases, 3 times the original cost. If you adopt the G2G, that is government-to-government approach, which we are adopting with Tucano, it's cheaper. But if you must go through the black market, because wartime is the wrong time to buy weapons. Everyone knows that you are desperate. So they are going to increase the price, and I don't think that is what this government wants to do. So they are bidding their time, waiting for the weapons that they've placed an order for to come, instead of going to the black market and paying 3 times the cost of an airplane.
And so do we have, I'm looking at manpower now. We've been losing some of our soldiers, and it's easier for Boko Haram to recruit on the streets than to just pick anybody and put in the Nigerian army. So the process, I'm looking at manpower now, the military is right now overstretched.
When I look at the way we've addressed our insecurity problems so far, I just shake my head as if I have all the powers to do something different. From the president to many of his, ministers and others in the last 5 years, or let me say the last 4 years, we've had narrative that some of these problems, crimes in Nigeria were being committed by foreigners. Go around Nigeria, all our borders, very porous. I've never seen anything from this government that what are you doing to stop that?
To address that problem.
I think some years back, the immigration boss told us that we have over 24,000 borders. Only ones that are official, that is where you see is men, they are about 800. You can imagine 800 from over 24,000 borders. We have not done anything about that. And for life, we will continue to pay for this unless we do something about it. Nobody is talking about that. Now, the same government officials are admitting that many of these problems are committed by, foreigners. Now we are not in. The government of Nigeria, as we speak, is carrying out e-registration of aliens.
Yes.
You understand me? Mm-hmm. The government is gracious enough to give them 6 months to do so. I mean, to submit themselves willingly for registration. That's criminals, because majority of these people we are talking about are criminals. Yes. Now,
so they will get legitimacy.
After 6 months, what happens to those who didn't submit themselves, especially those who love to live in the forest? Why are we so soft on mere criminals? Why are we not, doing enough about our borders? Why are we not, arresting and prosecuting these people instead of giving them soft landing? Because by registering them, we are of the opinion that they are not harmful to us, whereas they are.
Let's give them the Trump treatment.
All right.
You understand me?
Let's quickly,
I will recommend the Trump treatment.
We'll come back.
Okay.
We'll come back. Let's quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. If you are just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. So we're looking at the state of security around the country and the 10 years, will I say, 10 years of Boko Haram terrorizing the northeastern part of Nigeria, and it's spreading. Adekunle, before we went on break.
Yes, I was talking about our leaky or porous borders. We need comprehensive, response to insecurity problems in Nigeria. All we have been doing so far, then window dressing, mere window dressing. Because when you attack a problem from the roots, you get solution. But when you are just treating symptoms, you are not doing anything. That's the way I see it. So far, let's first of all take care of our borders. The people that are in the country right now who have criminal, antecedents, let's do what is right on them, apprehend them and prosecute them. Then we stop others from coming in. Nigerians, all of us, we don't have a right to enter anywhere in the whole world unless we are allowed.
It's very difficult.
When you see all the big countries, unless they look at your papers, they realize you will contribute to their economy in whatever way, you're allowed to come in. In international law, nobody has any right to enter another person's country without being allowed. So we are committing no crime if you do this. Now you are talking about CCTV, drones, and all that. To do what? It will end up just as Mr. Onoja said, the same way, because the more we do, the more coming, they are coming.
Let me pick this call. Bala is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Bala.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Mr. Ajala.
Ajala. Oh, I'm sorry about that, not Bala. Ajala.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I appreciate everyone in the house.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
And I just want to make a little contribution.
Go ahead.
I think we are playing with a bomb that is about to happen as regards the security of this country. And whoever that is above 50 years old, we know quite all right that we have enjoyed so much of security in this country called Nigeria. This is not about politics. This is not about ethnicity. And this is not about any other religious lines. Nothing that we have to do now that we work unless we go back to the basics. Now, in the past, anyone that is above 50, what we used to know is that right from where you are living, the baale of that place is in charge of that nooks and crannies of the little area. He is controlling. I mean, a baale of any place. Now, the Oba of any community, Oba of any community, knows any stranger that comes in or goes out of his community at every point in time. So before you commit anything, any atrocity, he has all his agents well structured from the basis. So it's not a question of carrying drones or carrying. We are not even right to that level. Let's go back to the basis whereby for every community, every baale or the CDA, which is the fourth tier of government, should be involved. They should just take over the security of their environment, and they should be
Noted.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that point. Noted. Martin.
You see, he has said, we have reiterated what was said in defense of the meeting with traditional rulers. I think that's exactly the consensus that the president has been building with traditional rulers all over the country, which I said we feel they are using for the time we need to do some critical thinking about development of critical infrastructure. But be that as it may, you know, this issue now, Yusuf asked critical questions, and the answer to those questions should not continue to blow in the wind. Because why? Why can't we deal with our borders? Why are we not arresting these ones? Why are we not dealing with these ones? Why are they cropping up all the time? Why are they front page stories? Why are they not being dealt with? Suggestions that even security architecture, big word, with the specific suggestions about even reshuffling of the security chiefs, and some of them like that, just move them around, give them even some security chiefs were quoted as even blaming the troops, which we don't even want to do in the media. We encourage the troops at a time. So I think it is...
Their own leaders are abusing them.
Yes, their leaders are abusing them when we are encouraging them. You see, it's high time Mr. President began to listen to what the people are saying about your security chiefs, your security chiefs, your security chiefs. It is not a time to procrastinate in handling this thing in such a way that you build confidence in the government. The beginning of government and beginning with security issue. Security and welfare of the people, according to our constitution, shall be the primary purpose of government. And it's doing that, but I think it is high time we began to shift attention. As Jide and Yusuf said, if we do not secure the country first, he cannot want to see some friends in Ondo. He cannot go there. He's not to talk of his state. And I think that they should put it on priority list. They should have some sense of urgency in putting this thing behind us. Calling traditional rulers to Abuja is very good to build confidence, but we will have more confidence when we see that there are actionable plans for this issue, practicable steps that will allow us to have confidence in the governance process.
Yeah. Do you know, if you are able to do all this, do you know the final solution to all this? We must devolve powers to the state or lower levels in terms of security. That is to say, we must have either community policing, that's what we call it, or we do state police. Every state is in a better position to secure that state than the federal government. Yes. I want Mr. President to just accept that the presidency has failed in this regard, and that a better lasting solution would be, some people may hate restructuring. You may not call it restructuring. You must devolve powers. This is not to say we are registering you to buy drones. We are registering you to do CC. No. It's beyond that. If you give the job of securing Lagos State to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, I believe he will do a fantastic job. You understand me? Than somebody in Abuja.
I agree that community policing is a good way to address some of these problems. And the good thing is that the president has also said that much,
Yes,
that they will
certainly.
encourage community
It's very
policing.
emotional.
By
Accepted
our constitution, we can't have state police at this time unless we amend that constitution. And you and I know that the process of amending that constitution is very cumbersome. We can be on it for years, and we will still not be able to amend the constitution, especially that provision for community policing, because it's an emotive issue. And when some people remember what happened in the First Republic, they will be scared stiff, knowing that even today's generation of governors are power grabbers. They are not likely to support the idea of community, state police. But let us see what powers can be devolved. Osun State, for example, had paid for drones, high caliber drones to monitor its entire area. But up till now, they've not secured clearance from the office of the NSA and the space agency for them to take delivery of the drone and put it to use.
Why should
Is
that be?
the kind of federal structure that we run,
It's restricted now.
the kind of federal structure that we run that gives too much powers to the
president.
center is not helping anyone.
Oh, wow.
If you are taking too much on. You are taking on too much more than you can cope with. So this is the situation. I'm happy that the president said, yes, we will we will encourage the licensing of states to acquire these things. If we go to Durban in South Africa, because the bulk of Durban is covered by CCTV, Durban is, people would rather not go and commit crime in Durban. They will prefer to go to Johannesburg because they know that they are likely to be caught.
You know, this just a minute, this thing is very, very important about devolution of power, especially this policing issue. It doesn't have to be a national issue in the first instance. You take, for instance, the strategic thing that the president himself has done using NFIU to even beat an aspect of the constitution about joint local government, this joint account. He has been very stubborn. And now local government people, even against the letter and spirit of the constitution that the states should receive these funds through joint account. But he has used NFIU to do something. So with the political will, he can actually do what he is doing, asking states like Lagos that can afford state police to start immediately.
Thank you, Martin.
Political will.
Yeah. It is said that if you want to achieve extraordinary feats, you must think and act out of the ordinary. Faced with the challenge of rebuilding and reconstruction after years of Boko Haram devastation in Borno State, Governor Babagana Zulum is going the extra mile to get things fixed. On Monday night at about 2 a.m., Governor Zulum paid unscheduled visits to the state specialist and Umaru Shehu ultra-modern hospitals in Maiduguri and met none of the 19 resident doctors at their posts, including the two on call. He promptly ordered for the suspension of the medical director and 4 other doctors, while others are going to get various disciplinary actions. I don't know. This is a state hospital, and it's meant to be busy. Emergency could come anytime, especially this is Maiduguri, and Maiduguri is like the most fortified city. If anything should happen around Borno State, I think the clearinghouse will be Maiduguri. Now, what's this all about, Babajide?
The governor, after the attack on the Badu community the other day, the governor wanted to see how the victims were being looked after and all that. And the best place to go to is a specialist hospital in the state and the Umaru ultramodern hospital. But when the governor got there around 1 a.m., we noticed that no doctor was on duty. And To make matters worse, he got their phone numbers and he was calling these people. And these governors refused to pick their calls.
Doctors.
The doctors, the doctors refused to pick their calls. They didn't know who was calling. If you are paid to protect people, to take care of people as doctors, and you stay in your homes when you are supposed to be at work, and then a governor goes to your duty post, finds you missing, and is calling you, you also didn't pick your call. It's a summary dismissal that these kind of people should get, because what they've done is irresponsible. You have to be at work. 138 nurses on the payroll of government in the 2 hospitals, and only 10 nurses were on duty. It speaks to the rot in that sector of Borno State. And what they have, this kind of person is a different kind of governor. He's going to do, remember his first day at work, he went to the state secretariat. This was the same thing that happened. People were late. By the time the governor got to work, all the key people in government had not even arrived at the secretariat. So they have many questions to answer. What were they doing? They must have heard that there was an attack, and many people will be brought to hospital to receive treatment. Yet the people's duty it is to protect people, save their lives, ensure that they don't die from the injuries that they suffer from Boko Haram. We are nowhere to be seen. So I hope other governors, because there is so much rot in our health system, I hope other governors will occasionally do what Professor Zulum has done, so that doctors who abandon their duty post to attend to private business will know that their days are numbered. I'm really impressed with what the governor has done, and I want him to continue along this line.
This is the kind of news that will give you reassurance that in spite of everything that is happening in our country, we still have some people that if they have opportunity, in government or public affairs management, they will make a difference. What you see in Borno State is the same thing that is happening all over Nigeria. But somebody is making a difference. This does not require anything other than the will on the part of the leader. Remember during Muritala, the short period, you know what he was doing? He would just go incognito, any public place. Sometimes they wouldn't know. By the time before you find out, you are fired. You see, what this will do in Borno State is that everybody will
sit up.
that it's not going to be business as usual. Whether your boss is watching you or not, there is this high that is watching. Anytime it can pass on you. Believe me, if people like this man happens to run this country, you will know that we also have the human talent to turn Nigeria around with this kind of, because that's a leader.
And he's extremely honest.
That is a leader.
He got to office.
That's the kind of
only
people.
one car.
That is
He had the jalopy. It was the governor, the immediate past governor, that literally collected that car from him by force.
That's the kind
and
of.
you're going to be governor. You are still riding this jalopy, and he does not have a house. No house of his own.
Despite the fact that, yes, he's been the one that...
And he was given a ministry that you would say was the most lucrative
under the last administration.
Yes.
In the state.
Yet he didn't have a house of his own.
What's that
He
ministry?
didn't.
That is rural rehabilitation.
Reconstruction, rehabilitation.
Of
He was the
Boko
one
Haram,
rebuilding all the destroyed communities. Yes. And he will go to dangerous communities, Bama and the rest, to rebuild, even at the risk of losing his life.
In all the villages, in all the IDP camps, during the former governors, he was more popular than even the governor.
Okay.
You understand me? We are praying that one day, Nigeria will be so lucky that this kind of people will run national affairs.
It's very honest. He won't steal your money.
I'm praying that one day somebody like this will happen.
Go to Ramat Polytechnic, where he was rector, and see the changes that Professor Zulum has done. Every day I pray for him. The other day I was saying it here because I was forced to cry, to weep on set because of the carnage in Borno State. They had a governor who was working hard. But even those guys, you know that in spite of the problem, he was just doing his best. People of Borno State expect Zulum to outperform the former governor because of his natural determination to succeed. And we have seen evidence of that. The people, the civil servants, if they don't want to work at the pace of the governor, they should be kicked out of the system. Because it's a different kind of governor.
Do you know the funniest thing with this?
Okay. It is important. Maybe after this program, you should Google the long statement the then governor read when he was recommending him for primary.
I read it.
You know, he was very, very emotional. Yes. Look at this, I would have loved this. But this man, for the future of Borno State, choose this person. I prefer this person. All my friends and relations who have been looking up to this, who are closer to him, I printed it and I was reading it and I said, it's a glimmer of hope. And then the governor will be smiling and would say, thank God for the inspiration to recommend this kind of person. We are not going to get spirit to run this country, as he is saying. There are three good people. Our recruitment process, political recruitment process, this celebration of mediocrity, you would not have believed that this kind of person had been in the system if the former governor had not supported him and appealed. And you know the way he did it, he didn't do it arbitrarily. He wrote and read a statement that will appeal and appeal to and appease those people. And you see, the president promising drones and all those things came on the heel of his own revelation that Boko Haram terrorists were already deploying drones.
Against our soldiers.
Yes, against our soldiers. Sincerity of purpose, truthfulness in this governance process. This is a very good advertisement for democracy. And the majesty that I always talk about.
Majesty,
you know? Let's just talk about the people. Because of the kind of person that we see that this kind of person will make us to like one way or the other democracy. Because of the way he was chosen and he is performing. And the governor advertised on front pages of some newspapers projects that they did in spite of everything because of this man in Borno State. And I think
the
it's
people
a
of
very
Borno
good
State
story.
now, I know they have like a compensation, and in this governor, and we should look out and watch out for.
It's a governor to watch. Remember, I predicted that he will win the primaries. So if you go back, I predicted I will win the primaries. And after I won the primaries, I also said there was no need. There was no need for an election. There was no need for an election. Just give him the
certificate of return.
The certificate of return, you remember. And he scored the highest vote by any governor in Nigeria in that election.
In spite of...
He scored the highest.
The challenge.
Yes, it's on record that the votes he scored was the highest across the country. So that means that the people repose absolute confidence in him. And everywhere, when I talk to Borno people, they tell me that they expect him to outperform the former governor. The former governor did well. Look at the excellent solar project that he came up with. He did well. But people are saying, look, with this man, he's so courageous. He's a son of a Malam. He does not fear. He goes to places where Boko Haram men are, and he does projects. Even the NGOs in Borno State, they are extremely excited that it was Professor Zulum that became governor because they've seen his work in all those areas. So
right person for the right
all that we need it should not be discouraged by the bad behavior of civil servants. That is to be expected. Yes. But as he has taken the step now to punish these people, he should take a step further, identify other derelicts who are in the civil service who are just simply collecting money and not working. And they should kick them out of the system. They should kick them out of the system. So this is what we want. This is what will take us far. How can you be in a state where Boko Haram kills people? You know that you will need to give attention to injured people. And you are nowhere to be found. I mean, it's inhuman.
And some people are collecting call duty for job not done.
Yes.
You see, Nigeria will change when, this country, changes its, leadership recruitment process, where we have people who see public office that when you run public office, it's like a call to God, that you are serving God. That is equivalent of serving God.
I have Stephen is calling us from Lagos. Hello, Steve. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution quickly. My time is fast spent.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen, and I want to say I really appreciate the job you people are doing. Wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I want to quickly talk about the attitude of doctors. This is a very known fact to the government. I think we need a government who will call a spade a spade. We need a government who will have the political will to face some of these obvious challenges. All we are saying here is just stating the obvious. It is on the public domain that virtually all the doctors in our public hospitals, they own private clinics. And so they spend more time in their own private clinics than the government hospitals. It's on the public domain. And so we keep talking about these things, and it looks as if it has become a mere rhetoric, because the doctors know very well that even the government themselves know about it. Some of these doctors, they are friends and relatives of even the big government in power. It's not a secret. It's just like an open secret.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
You know that the accident and emergency unit of that hospital, they do not have a roster. So it was difficult for the governor to know who was supposed to be on duty, because there was no roster. How can you have an hospital where in the accident and emergency unit,
which is one of the most important sections?
So all that he has done is to say, okay, give query to every doctor on that in that department, because and at the end of the day, he should still be able to punish doctors in that department, because there should be a roster. If there's no roster, how do we know who is supposed to be on duty?
Well, Steve, what Steve raised, I think the 8th Assembly, I don't know how that thing, it was resolved. This practicing, having your own local practice at home and now working in a general hospital, I think they were working towards a law to stop that.
No, I don't think they put
This is the light of day.
They didn't put through. I think Babangida started this,
yes.
allowing...
After he suspended...
no, I think before it wasn't...
It became worse after the suspension of NMA in 1984.
Yes.
That was when doctors now felt, so in one... And all of their leaders, were disciplined. So doctors now felt, so this could happen to us. So the level of commitment became reduced. Some of them were now working more or less like part-time, The
government allowed them.
Babangida allowed them to
own their... This is president. Babangida allowed them, and has become a practice. But it's very good. This one and the suspension of the medical director.
I think, Jide, we'll continue to work. We'll continue to watch and monitor the giant stride of this governor, Babangida Zulum.
Yes.
So we have our spotlight on him because Borno State is the most hit.
It's constantly in the news.
Yes, this Boko Haram insurgency. Thing. I want to thank you, Martin Oloja. Thank you so much for being with us, and Adekunle Yusuf. Thank you.
I'm glad to be.
Lashin and Bikio, thank you. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our YouTube platform, that's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Osuwakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.